My name is TOMISIN Runsewe. I'm the lead photographer at Oluwatomisin. We're a wedding documentary photography company. We shoot weddings across Nigeria and the UK. We specialize in creating or documenting wedding moments that keep the precious memories of our clients' wedding days for a lifetime to come. Photography to me was an escape from a lot of things, to be honest. It was a very difficult time and I just needed something new to do to just give me a different challenge. And at the time I had friends that were photographers, so I used to fiddle with their equipment, and so I just got started that way. And interestingly, the first wedding I ever shot, of course it wasn't my wedding, followed someone was in London. So I was in the UK, and then my brother was like, I have a friend that shoots weddings, I'll talk to him. And he was like, sure. And he agreed. So that was actually the beginning, because I'm not sure if that had happened, I would have come into weddings like that, the way I did. And so photography to me, I don't know, it was a means to an end at the time, but now when you see people's reactions to your work, I honestly don't see what people see. At times I'm like, when people pay me compliments, I'm like, really, are you sure? When brides react to some photos, I think that is when I started realizing the amount of meaning what I was doing had to people. And for Dolapo and Funto, I don't think I have a stronger relationship with anybody else. And the reason I bring it up was because it went to show how much what I did to them meant, because their wedding was about a year ago. Just, I think 3 or so weeks ago, she just randomly sent me a message with a picture of my wedding and said, I think, thank you. And in that, I knew that what I did meant a lot, but that just kind of gave me fresh energy to see that it wasn't just pictures, it was memories, and memories that people really cherish. The first wedding I want to talk about is Tosin and Noel's wedding. It was in Ibadan. I met Tosin at a conference, at an SMEs conference, and then we just got talking, and then she mentioned to me that she just got engaged. So I was like, oh, let me shoot your wedding, sure. And then she was like, yeah, sure. That, of course, based on our conversations. And so I went to see her, and then it turned out that another friend of ours was getting married, and even before we started talking about her own wedding, she had messaged her friend to tell her friend about this great photographer that she just found, and then told her one to book me as well. So our wedding was sometime last year in June, I believe, and it was, as I said, it was in Nevada. It was a one-day wedding, but the trial was on the same day. That was probably the fastest wedding I've ever shot, because I think the wedding ended by like 3 o'clock, like tried and white, very minimalist, but very, very beautiful. It was strictly for close friends and family, so it was very intimate, and everybody had a good time. And my click moment from that wedding was, I think it was right after the vows, and they were kneeling to pray, and the groom started crying. And for a second, I almost got caught up in the tears and not taking photos. But of course, eventually I got back into it. And then Tosin, who is the bride, yeah, Noel is the groom, took her handkerchief and was cleaning her eyes. And yeah, it was quite a very emotional moment because, of course, there was a lot of backstory to getting to that point, all the challenges they had gone through. So I guess it was quite a surreal moment for the groom. And yeah, so that was my click moment from that. I think what stood out for me was the fact that it was never really about the wedding for them. Like, that was probably the least thing they, like, all the party and the buzz that went about it wasn't really what bothered them. And which goes to show why the wedding was so quick, because they were just about themselves, about the love they shared and ensuring that the people they really cared about attended the wedding and no one else. And I think that for me is rare, because a lot of people have this very flamboyant, which is beautiful for photographs and everything, because it makes it all come out really nice. But after you shoot weddings for a while, you begin to appreciate the little things, because everybody is used to weddings being a circus in quotes, but then when you see small intimate weddings that are just about the most important people that the day is about and about the life they want to share, it really gets you thinking, and it really gets you really appreciating the idea of love and the idea of true intimacy. So I still am in a way. I used to be a farmer, and then at some point, some challenges came up and I lost my farm to flooding and things like that. So I kind of spiraled into a bad place. And so then I found photography, and it gave me something new to do, something new to look forward to, something new to challenge me. And I think I was lucky enough to meet a lot of people along the way that really shaped what my photography has become today. Without those people, I probably wouldn't have pursued it, because it was at a time where anything I was doing didn't really seem like much. So I found photography. I met some very amazing people that allowed me to tag along at their weddings, and that was pretty much how we started. And people liked what I did, and then started reaching out. The next wedding would definitely be a friend's wedding, Funto and Delapo's wedding. So as I said, a friend contacted her and told her that she had found a photographer for two of them, because they pretty much planned their wedding together, and it was 2 weeks apart. So they pretty much used mostly the same vendor. So she messaged her. Funto doesn't live in Nigeria, so she didn't really have a lot of information. So she did most of the planning for her. And she messaged her that she found this photographer that she'd like her to also use. So Funto contacted me a few days later, and then we just got chatting over WhatsApp, and within like 5 minutes of the conversation, she was already so into everything. And I'm sure it wasn't up to 48 hours they had paid the deposit. And this is for someone you don't know, you've never met. And so from that moment, I was already excited about the wedding, because I knew that these guys had to be very amazing people, and they had to be just a joy to document. And I wasn't wrong, because I feel like everything that could have gone wrong leading up to that wedding and during the wedding went wrong. But then you wouldn't have, if you had walked in at any point in time, you wouldn't have known that stuff went wrong. Unfortunately, some things I cannot share because it's personal to the couple. But on the day of the trad, the hotel, there was no light for like 5 hours. But of course, thankfully it was trad, so it started late. So I think there was no light till like 12 p.m. And I think everybody else was probably more concerned than the bride herself. She was just, as far as she wasn't just bothered. It was just so surreal to see on your wedding day, everything is going wrong, and then you are just chill. I think that's really what I can use. In fact, it was the groom that was more agitated because because he didn't want his bride to be sweating and all of that. And of course, and also he's a lawyer, so he was already getting all lawyery on them and all of that. And of course, after that happened, when they brought lights, everything went on very smoothly. Like, you wouldn't have thought that happened that morning. And yeah, I think, yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, so my click moment from that wedding, there were a lot of moments from that wedding because it was a very emotional wedding because a lot of things that happened. And so, but I think it was their first dance because I think that was where you really got to see the chemistry and the love that they shared. I mean, this wedding was massive. Like, it was like 1,500 guests. So in that kind of wedding, it's usually not very intimate. It's usually very distracted, very chaotic. But somehow, you could tell that all the couple cared about were enjoying themselves during the wedding. And I don't think the first dance showed it, or any part of the wedding showed it more than the first dance, because it was just them. It was like there was nobody else in the hall. There was no crowd. There was no noise. There was no chaos. It was just them on the dance floor, sharing that moment they've probably been looking forward to for a very long time. So yeah, that was my click moment. Well, I try to ensure that I'm like a blank slate on a wedding day. So I try not to carry my own problems into people's weddings because no matter what, that's not their business. So I tend to get enough rest, which is very difficult, and also prepare the day before, prepare my outfits, my equipment, and everything to ensure that there's nothing that could possibly, from my own end, ruin any part of the day for the couple. So most times I'm in a great mood, and even throughout the day I try to ensure that I stay smiling, even as tired as I am. I just keep going, and then whatever problems there are, pick it up after and then move on with it. The next wedding is Tommy and Bisola's wedding. Tommy was my classmate in university, and yeah, so there was a bit of pressure because I didn't want to screw up my classmate's wedding, my friend's wedding. And I feel like I probably feel less tense when I'm shooting strangers' wedding than my friends because they are your biggest fans, so it's a bit of a tense situation. So the wedding was in Lagos. It was a trad and white on separate days. The trad was at an event center, and then the joining was at a garden in Lagos. And I think that was very different to what you are typically used to, because most weddings are in churches, right? And a garden wedding is quite an interesting thing because it's just different, and then it feels more intimate because, of course, there are not as many people, and it doesn't feel churchy, if I can use that word. And yeah, so my click moment from that wedding will be the moment where all our classmates were around, and then everybody was on the dance floor, and then it was just so much energy from everybody, and then it was like the first time we were seeing each other for 7 years or 6 years or thereabout. So it was so much excitement, and at some point, as the photographer and the cosmate, you had to really find the right balance without losing the moment. And yeah, so there were so many moments of reflection, so many moments of nostalgia, just catching up on what or the years that had gone by. For Tomi and Bisola, I think they met in church, I think. So it was a lot of people from the church attending, but I think what I appreciated the most about their wedding was the fact that it wasn't an attempt to be religious. I don't know if I'm coloring on the lines, but it was, it's your wedding, so they weren't just trying to be safe for the sake of people having something to talk about. They just had an absolute blast. It was a very lit wedding because everybody came out just to have a good time, and it almost felt like if they didn't even have a very live bridal party, which they did, they would have still had a great time because they were just ready. They were just ready for the fun, for the pictures, for the speeches, for everything. So yeah, it was good. Weddings are probably some of the most tiring things you can ever choose to do, wedding photography. But sometimes I get back home at the end of the day and I wonder, why am I even putting myself through this pain? On days where I shoot Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays are in bed, like literally. And I somewhat enjoy it because the times I've had to shoot like corporate events and other kind of events, which I do, they don't challenge me because they are a lot slower. They don't come up with as many moments. They are very rigid. And yeah, so I think weddings are definitely very tasking, very challenging, but I definitely love it because I'm not one to sit around. So even on wedding days, even after the whole day has gone, where I know that it has already almost ended, I find it hard to sit still because I'm like, I don't want to miss anything, and I can go and sleep at home. I didn't come to sleep, so yeah. So I think the challenge actually motivates me because I enjoy the thrill of running about and being tired. Deji and Deborah, that was in London. That is probably the most, is there a word like latest? That's probably the latest wedding I've ever shot in my existence. It was a party and a half. Like, so the trad was like 2 weeks before the white, and you could already tell that this wedding was gonna be all shades of awesome because the couple were very live people, and then their bridal party were absolutely amazing. And I think it also helped that they all grew up together, both because they are university friends, so they became lovers and then they married. So that kind of helped because they had history, the entire bridal party. So it made the whole experience amazing. And my click moment from that wedding was during the speeches when the groom's friends were really doing the exposés, and then it wasn't like it wasn't the whole case of the cringe-worthy moments where they said things they were not supposed to say and things like that. Well, it was just really embarrassing but really hilarious stuff. And that at some point the groom had to stand up and I was really in shock. There was really the groom's brother. I can't remember what exactly he was saying, but at some point he knelt down and then he really got the entire room crazy because it was just a lot of energy in one space. Yeah, so that was my click moment from that wedding. The energy they brought, I have never, ever. It was one of those weddings, and then when they shut down, you're like, why? Because if that wedding went on to 5 a.m., those people would have kept going. Like, there was no dull moment throughout. Like, everything was back to back, energy, all the way. So I think that was it for me. The most difficult part of the wedding would have been the dress up because the rooms were a bit dark. It was really black, like the colors of the walls were painted black. So it was a bit tricky finding lights, and of course most of it had to be window light, natural light. But yeah, I think that must have been the most difficult moment from the wedding. Yeah, also to mention another memorable moment from the wedding, the couple were genuine friends. It was like two friends getting married, them bumping, giving handshakes, and those things. I mean, for me, each wedding is so unique, is amazing. Like, it wasn't a small wedding, it was a very big one. For a UK wedding, it was a very big one. And it was like their friendship was there for all to see them fist bumping, gossiping during the wedding and laughing out loud. Like, you could hear the bride's laughter from the other side of the room. That's how loud they were. So yeah, I think that was another moment from the wedding. So my most embarrassing moment at a wedding was during an introduction, actually. I was wearing a trad, and then at some point, because I'm a very active photographer, I lie down, I jump up, I move around. So at some point, during my bend down, a trouser tore. Thankfully, I was wearing the top of the trad was a bit long, so it covered it for a while. And then I think the bride discovered that there was something off about my movement, so she asked, and we had a good laugh about it. But luckily for me, it was in Ibadan, so I could get someone to get me clothes, so I changed. And since then, I don't go to wedding with one outfit. I always have a second outfit in the boot because that was a very teachable moment for me. So the next wedding will be Abiola and Taiwo's wedding. Abiola and I went to school together. So she contacted me that she was getting married, and she has always been one of my biggest supporters and a very close friend because apart from going to school together, we also served together. So we have a very strong relationship. So when she told me she was getting married, of course, that was really exciting. And yeah, another wedding that I didn't want to screw up because it was a friend's wedding. And so it was quite an interesting wedding. It was in Ibadan. And it was 2 days, tried and a white. And for me, the click moment from that wedding was when Abiola was dancing with her dad, I believe, and she started crying. And of course, she clearly had a very strong relationship with her dad, so it was quite emotional for her to be leaving, which is quite interesting when you think about it. Well, so she, and I think her dad also shed a tear at that point in time. So it was quite a good moment at the wedding. Yes, so that Saturday was environmental. So, and for states that still have environmental, you can't go out till, if you don't leave before a certain time, you can't go out till after. So My second shoot, I missed the curfew, so I had to shoot both the bride and groom getting ready, but thankfully it was in the same hotel, so it was less of a challenge, but it was still a bit tricky jumping across both sides to ensure that you don't miss too much. So yeah, that was the most difficult moment of the wedding.